going on, everyone? Let's take a peek at this. Specifically, the Eaglemoss hardcover collected edition of Michael Turner's run on Superman Batman. It is hot and humid here today, and I got to do this without the fan. So I'm sweating for y'all. The fan just gives way too much background noise. Yeah, anyways. Yeah, here you go. There's actually a lot of these. There's a lot of these Eaglemoss collected hardcovers. And when you put them all together, you get this really cool Alex Ross DC Universe image. It spreads across all the hardcovers. There's only a few of these that I've cherry picked. This being one of them. I don't recall the other one. There was one or two other ones. I think one was a Flash and possibly a Superman. But anyways, I think that these are actually exclusive to, like, I don't know, Britain or somewhere. They're not United States, I'm pretty sure. But specifically, I did choose this one because it actually had really good reviews on the paper, print quality, and these actually also have generally more material in the back, like you'll see in here. This one actually also contains the first appearance of Supergirl in a comic, right? All right, so we check this out. Make sure I'm centered up here. That's not too bad. Lighting in here is so weird. These are much easier if I film these at night, but got a few minutes. Finished a page, scanned it. Said, why not? All right, so this is issues, I think it's 8 through 13. I think the first 7, you know what? That one's actually collected as well. The first 7 were illustrated by Ed McGuinness. So, and this era of Turner here, I think, is right when he kind of broke from Top Cow and was doing the stuff with Aspen, and they had a bunch of hold up because of some legal stuff, I think. So he was freelancing. I know he did a bunch of covers at Marvel and all that, but something to pay attention to with this specific era is when he left Top Cow, majority of his work was just pencils. It was just pencil scanned, you know, some contrast level adjustments. I'm assuming actually maybe more so like curve adjustments. A little bit more control. I've seen a ton of these originals in person. One of the first things I would normally do, being the huge Michael Turner simp that I continue to be, I would hunt down the Aspen booth, and Frank was always nice. He'd pull out the folders for me to kind of look through. They were always finding new stuff that they'd be selling at shows. But yeah, Turner, he inked really lightly, like really, really lightly. And so this is actually not glare. This is actual Stierwald's colors. So it's a pretty cool double pager. much lighter of a line quality than what you get in print here, so I'm sure that Peter was altering the lines so that they're legible, thankfully, and really tight penciler too. So yeah, Turner, he a lot of control with the lines, and he contained a lot of the nuance, the thick to thins, things like you see right here at these connecting, the intersecting lines of the foot to the shin, and you can see there's a thick to thin going on there. And notoriously, he does that on everywhere, every joint, every crevice. He would make sure to identify those using, you know, thick to thins. Did not have an inker to rely on doing that for him, which normally you would just kind of, it's okay just to kind of deadline it out. And deadline being, you would just essentially draw, and any line weight variance would be handled by the inker. But he was the one handling the line art with that in that regard. Thicks to thins, fades, all that. One thing I did notice though is when he did leave Top Cow, he abandoned a lot of his cross hatching in his work. Started doing a lot more of this stuff with I don't even know what to call it. It's not really a fade. It's almost like a banding, where everything is just tightly grouped lines to create different gradations of gray, like through here. All these lines are parallel to one another, but they're grouped differently, so it appears like a 20% gray, maybe a 40, a 50, and then you got like an 80 over here. And that is something that a lot of artists do subconsciously. I do it myself quite a bit. You get closer to the object when you're coming around another object and dropping shadow on it, and it's I think it's just intuitive. You just start doing it. Or you'll just drop a heavy black there and kind of fade out from it. Aesthetically, it just looks really nice. Yeah. So, and now the colors here, the saturation and all that, it is pretty heavy. Heavy reds, oranges, hard lights. You get a lot of this, probably Dodge. He's probably using a lot of Dodge tool here with yellow and like a cream color. But it's not necessarily to compensate for anything missing in the art. A lot of times when you see that, that is the case, but Steigerwald's a very, very talented colorist. Has a little bit more of an organic approach. Not a lot of cut and grads, if any. A whole lot of airbrush, a whole lot of soft edges on almost everything. Not barely anything is chiseled out. I think that Peter's colors rely more on a higher percentage of difference between this gray and the darker gray underneath for your eye to create the different values between it. Where someone like myself, I would actually come in and probably do 3 or 4 different cuts of colors, going from the darkest to the lightest, at the hot spot. And it doesn't look flat. It's always nice. So yeah, a lot of double pagers in here. This was really cool too because when Turner, I think he kind of got run of the mill at some point, like at Top Cow. There was a lot of stuff that was sort of like fan servicey. Splashes, spreads, a lot of stuff where it would be faces like this throughout the entire book. A lot of time saving, a lot of time savers on interior pages, like really just to like knock it out and probably get to the next thing or whatever was going on at the time. And in this one, I feel like with Jeff's control lobe actually requiring a lot of insight and intellectual substance, not just flashy pinups, as I turn it to a flashy pinup. It kind of forced him to have to kind of break the mold of like the easy in and out approach to pages, and it works. It works. Shows one of his strengths was absolutely variance, varying panels, different sizes of characters. And I do also appreciate this run of books too. It has almost an oversimplified approach. Like the storytelling in it is very, very simple and easy to understand. Yeah, not super complicated. He had a lot of pull away shots. A lot of these shots he'd kind of recycle, this sort of thing, but they read well. And he was given plenty of opportunity to go back to these face shots for, the talking scenes and that. It was pretty cool. I like the integration of this, like a celestial body, or a sun or whatever with the eye placement. Yep, then you get different settings. Yeah, you get to see Darkseid's planet. You get to see the Furies there. This coloring is cool. I did see the line art on these, and sometimes Steigerwald's Peter's colors I feel like would be oversaturated on some of it, where it wasn't really necessary. Like maybe this was lightened up a little bit. I'm not really sure what I'm trying to say here, but it's like the colors are taking away from the really, really nice line art. But it doesn't happen often. But there are pages where, it might just be the dark background thing too. Yeah. And I actually, you know what? It's funny. Think about it. I have the oversized. I don't know if it's an artifact or an artist edition, but there's an actual, the full size artist edition of this run of books, the Mike Turner run, so 8 through 13, and then it's got a bunch of sketches and stuff in the back, and this does too, but it's different content. It has some different stuff. But that one has all the original scans of the original pages, so you can see like the fingerprints and the smudges and stuff that Steigerwald cleaned up before going to color with this stuff. I really like Mike Turner's version of Superman, and I also like a lot of the I've always liked when artists kind of come in. McFarlane did it. Lin Yu did it a bit too, with stylizing Batman's cape, where it's almost animalistic. Like this is kind of unrealistic way to kind of float down to a scene. You romanticize it, right? You romanticize the scene, the characters. And even a shot like this could have been very boring and cheesecakey and fan servicey, but things like this here, where you're giving motion to the piece by introducing like a gust of wind or whatnot to bring these strands of hair coming out here like this. And that's the sort of thing you do, and like you did it really well with Batman's cape and most of the panels, and Superman too. His flying scenes, you can see it here in the silhouette, but the flying scenes, he really plays with that, utilizing the directional lines of the capes in particular. Classic Turner. Yeah, Turner definitely, I know for myself at least, inspires a lot of the way my approach to drawing the female form. More so, I don't know, I'm so stuck on Silvestri's work for the last 20 whatever years that it's hard to break from it. But Turner kind of came from that same school too. Kind of came from the school of draw like Mark and get work. But then, ended up developing his own style. Mark adjacent, we'll call it that. But equally and sometimes even more impressive. It's a pretty cool looking Doomsday there. Yeah, so a lot of variety. He super good at drawing the muscular heroes, super feminine and strong females. Crazy looking monster, super detailed. But again, I do notice there's things in here that, my old man, back in the day, he used to actually come in here and do a lot of rendering that was very, very reminiscent of like a Whilce Portacio, like a Wetworks, specifically like the Wetworks stuff, type rendering on the muscles and drop shadows and things like that. And you don't see that a lot here too, but I think that he knew he had a very good, his artwork had a very nice marriage to the colors that he'd be getting on this book. So sometimes your style choice, if you're working with the right person, man, you already know the magic that's going to occur. So that could have been it too. See this right here with the cape? That's what I was talking about. Yeah, the easiest way to clean up a stale layout or stale character positioning or whatnot is create move and flow in other areas. It could have even been with the water or like stuff, the way the stuff is kind of coming off of reflection surfaces and stuff, which would more so be a colorist thing, but it looks like he's handling most of it with the pencil. So, and these backgrounds are awesome too. I'm like 99% sure he did not have any background assist on this stuff, so that's really nice. A lot of artists at this level, which he was absolutely top 5 A-lister at the time when this stuff was coming out. They had the funds, man. They had the funds. They could bring in extra help. Hey, you want to draw some backgrounds? I just want to draw the cool stuff. I don't think he really did that. Even on this one, I remember. I'm pretty sure I saw this double pager at one of the amazing shows out here in Arizona. It sold. I mean, most of this stuff had sold pretty quickly when he passed, but you can tell he would do a lot of ghost lining sometimes on some of the work before he'd actually chiseled out, and a lot of the ghost lining wouldn't get a full eraser treatment, so it was still, it still existed. Like, there might be stuff back here where you can see where he kind of sketched out kind of what he was going to do, and then he would actually do his commitment lines to chiseling out these I don't even know what they are. They look cool. And really nice handling of this too. So something that I like is a lot of artists like myself. Sometimes what you do is you'll throw 2 characters at different sizes, and you're like, oh, that's enough. That shows your depth perception, right? You just showed them, how to draw different angles. But what a lot of us do is this character and this character, same pose, right? You don't see any of that here. All these clustered images of characters, they all have their own demeanor, their own body language. So yeah, he definitely thought about the page while working on it, and more than likely before as well. A lot of expressions going on. You don't see Batman making that face very often. His giant hellhounds here. It's funny, this always reminded me of Orion. Another good series. Yeah, Orion by Walter Simonson specifically. That's my favorite. And I know it's not the first, it's not Kirby, but I still really, really enjoy it. It was a cool run. He had some different short stories. This is a phenomenal original, by the way, and this is actually a double pager. When I was buying these books and they're coming out, I actually suspected that maybe he took an 1117 and turned it sideways, because a lot of these outlines are super chunky, super thick. They're not. It's a double page spread. He just decided to go thick on these outlines because the scale of the character on the actual page is they're extrapolated. They're so big. But yeah, I really actually thought he took an 1117, flipped it sideways, and they just sort of like trimmed it, in the print. Which you can do. You just have to kind of shave a bit more on the top and bottom, and then you can use the full extent of the 17 inches sideways, vertical versus, or horizontal versus vertical. Like most pages are vertical. This would be 11 inches here, 17 tall. The print file, you would want to add the quarters to be like 11.25, 17.25, and that'll give you your trim on all edges. So I think something like this, if you were to draw this on 1117 sideways, I think actually you would do 11, and then I think it's like 15 and a half. You'd have to trim more than an inch on each end. Something like, I don't know, something like that. I did the math before. It's really easy to figure out too. If you open like Photoshop, you can open up 2 pages or 1 page and just multiply it, twice as wide, 200%. You can actually take an 1117 and just rotate it and then just sort of expand it to see where it lands, and then kind of, you can guesstimate it or whatever, or you can create a box at those dimensions, and it'll save those dimensions, and take it to an 1117. It'll give you a pretty accurate measurement of the trim area. Yeah, these pages are cool. I love this shot right here. So cool. And the face right there. Another nice thing about this book, or this run of books, Superman, Batman, 8 through 13, is I actually feel like they got better towards the end. Probably because it's more action and stuff, but they just felt like a little more TLC put into the contour lines and everything else. Oh, Batman looking like a badass. Why is there not a McFarlane figure of this right here? That should exist. Batman getting absolutely wrecked. Yeah, you can't fight Darkseid, dude. What you thinking? And this probably doesn't show here. Phenomenal coloring right here. The drop shadow going with the translucent blue hues, and you can see the shadow running right down her shoulder and chest. All because of the it's not the awning. I guess it would be a tent. Cool, cool. You think everything's happy? Think again. Guess who's back? Back again. Alright, here you are. So yeah, he pulverizes. She becomes dust. Poof. Superman's pissed. This is really cool. Generally, I feel like Turner, this is almost like an old thing he would do in Witchblade, which was the glowy eye with the silhouette thing. I think this is the best usage that he ever did in his career of this. The transition of Superman. You see the anger, obviously, with the eyes. Right here, puts his hand on the shoulder. You know Darkseid's done. Shut the hell up. Shut the hell up, Darkseid. Gets the laser eyes. Bam. You need that that Wonder Woman the movie soundtrack playing right there. All right. So, anyways, yeah, you see him. He flies Darkseid all the way to the edge of the known universe, I suppose. Puts him up like a wall plaque right there. So you see all these other entities. I don't really understand what all this is. I'm sure this is pre-existing in the DCU, but to me it doesn't register because my DCU collecting, as far as a teenager, was pretty much the Batman run, the George Perez cover. I think Lonely Place of Dying. Some of the Kelly Jones stuff was cool. Unpopular opinion, I actually didn't really get into DC until the 52 relaunch. It kind of reinvigorated the line, I feel like. I know a lot of people were hating on it, drinking the haterade. I personally, as a new reader, didn't mind. It was a pretty cool jump on point. The confusing thing with that was that they kept some titles, and for some reason the continuity ran with the 52, so it was just bizarre to me. I didn't try to keep up with that aspect, but got to see some really cool books. Got to see some Benitez, Joe Benitez. Got to see some a lot of Jim Lee, new stuff. You got to see shoot Gary Frank. Brett Booth, Norm Rapman. Such a nice guy. Yeah, these are cool. All right, so the book ends here. Thank you, everyone. Cover gallery. In the trade paperbacks of this, you will actually also get these gallery here, I believe. But I do think that the additional... I don't have the trade, but I have thumbed through it way back when it came out. Barnes & Noble or somewhere, I was looking through it. I have all these in floppy, though, so I didn't really have a need for it at the time. But with that stuff being essentially buried in the closet, I don't even know. I got dozens of long boxes at this point. Sometimes having these collected editions just makes it easier. You get to see some variants there. I did a cover recreation commission of this piece. It's pretty fun. I did realize that he drew Darkseid a little too small. I was kind of, with my underdrawing, I was like, he's a little, he should have been up here. But I think he did that because of the logo. But can't criticize Turner's work too much. It was what it was, and it was awesome. Yeah, so the Eaglemoss hardcover, which I have here, it does include, so this is Action Comics 252. So you get that entire book there. The introduction of Supergirl, right? Some advertisements. Is that Adam Hughes? And then yeah, and that's the inside back cover, inside front. I think it's the same thing. Yeah, there you go. And also, oh, you know what? I was going to mention price. Okay, so for whatever reason, if you live stateside, U.S., these are. It's funny. This is a very, very nice collection. Nice paper, good print. I'm looking through it. There's not a whole lot of variation between the floppy editions and what you see printed on the inside of this. Super, super close. You know, not lighter, not dark. They feel like it's the same books as what I read originally. This is cheap, so I recommend if you have thought about getting a collected edition of the Superman Batman drawn by Michael Turner, scripted by Loeb, I do recommend the Eaglemoss book over the trade. If you got to get the trade, it's fine. I mean, and honestly, if you don't really care about having this this old school Action Comics book with the first Supergirl, maybe just get the trade. You know, maybe you're not a hardcover type collector. I'm a little obsessed with them. I kind of dig it because I started figuring out that a lot of times these hardcovers actually contain, and it goes for Marvel too. They actually will contain a lot more material than sometimes the standard. I don't even know what you call it, square bound, trade paperbacks that are soft. So, all right, everyone. Thanks. Have a great day.